How's it going, everyone? It's Weeabruh. We are back with another manga haul. This time I will be trying a new format. I will be including the typical top-down shots that I normally do, but I'm gonna be in front of the camera this time and kind of going more in depth to particular series. I figured this would be a little bit more dynamic, a little bit better than just a typical top-down shot, especially now that I'm no longer doing unboxings on camera. It really doesn't make sense not to come in front of the camera and talk to you guys a little bit more about certain series. If you do want to see unboxings, you can check me out on my Instagram and on Twitter. I usually post most of my unboxings on there, as well as my pickups. I also upload shopping that I do when I randomly do it, because I go shopping a lot that doesn't ever make it on the channel, and a lot of it does go on Instagram. And of course, I have my Instagram edits. If you're into that, you can go check that out as well. So getting started with the haul, there actually isn't a lot that I got this month, but a lot of it is, you know, rare stuff and very, very interesting stuff. Nevertheless, this is April's manga haul, so let's get into it. Alright, so let's start off with some French manga. Not a whole lot of foreign language manga this month, but I did pick up some really, really good stuff. And the first one is Ranking of Kings. And I love this anime. It's incredible. If you haven't watched the anime, I definitely go recommend watching it. Do not be put off by the art style. The story is a very, very beautiful story. It's really, really going to surprise you. I guarantee it. Is it perfect? No, but it's definitely some of the best anime that I have seen this year. And just like the anime, the art style is a little bit weird, and honestly a little bit weirder than it is on the anime, but I love this story so much. I had to pick it up. I know it's in French, but the writing itself is pretty, you know, not too complex. So I thought it was a perfect tool to practice my French, which I have been. It's been excellent in learning new terms and stuff. I will be going more in depth into that in my next video, which is going to be language learning with manga. But nonetheless, I did want to support this mangaka. I'm certain this is going to come out in English eventually. They're already translating it digitally. It's only a matter of time that we're going to come out with physicals. Yeah, this is awesome. Definitely recommend the anime if you have not watched it already. Then I picked up the second and first volumes of Shion. Unfortunately, volume 1 is not here yet. But this manga, where can I even start? This is a very, I would say a little bit underrated, particularly for the art. The story itself, I haven't really dived into it too well, but the art itself is magnificent. It's by the mangaka Yu Kinutani. His art style is very, very inspired by Mobius, a French artist. I just love this art style like crazy, man. I mean, it really revolves just around this minstrel who I believe is he's walking around looking for advice on how to kill a certain mage. Apparently it's like episodic. The first volume is available in English, but it's a little bit annoying to find. But yeah, it sucks because in French they only published 2 out of the 3 volumes. But nevertheless, I'm really excited about this pickup. It's a very, very fascinating art style. The mangaka is probably a little bit more well known for his adaptation called Amon, which is a dark adaptation of Devilman that got adapted into a anime. And if you've seen that anime, it does it a little bit more justice than the original anime of Devilman. You know, it's a little bit more true to the manga, which is fantastic. It's a lot more dark and gritty. And yeah, it's amazing that this artist adapted Devilman. So anyway, Shion, a very, very interesting pickup for sure. Now we're going to get into some more interesting mangaka that I honestly have not seen in anybody's collection. And I don't know why. I guess similarly to me, it's not really on English readers' radar as much as it is, say, with French readers. But it is the mangaka by the name of, let me see, Tetsuya Saruwatari. It's a little bit hard to say. And the manga in particular is tough. And you probably have heard me talk about this already in my video, Learning with Manga. It's a martial arts and mixed martial arts manga. Unfortunately, only 5 volumes were published in here. They're not particularly rare or hard to find. They're fairly cheap, which does surprise me because I think this mangaka is for sure a very special one. His art style is very unique. He reminds me a lot of the artist for SNK. I forgot his name. I'll put it on the screen. It's this art style from the 90s that's kind of like hyper realistic, but very, you know, testosterone filled. It's super, super awesome. And the manga itself is freaking incredible. It's brutal. It's, you know, action packed. You can't really tell right away in these first volumes because he does have a pretty significant evolution in art. But yeah, I'm generally surprised that this isn't picked up more often. I would say definitely pick these up now before they probably get a little bit more harder to find and potentially rise in price. But yeah, anyways, tough, awesome series. So next up is a manga lot that I got. which includes 3 different series. One you guys have already seen, and a couple that is very, very new to my collection. The first one being Cyborg 009. I already have this volume. It's volume 1. I love this series. I grew up with the anime in particular. These are extremely hard to find. The first couple of volumes are not that difficult. I only got this because it was included in the lot, so if you want to buy this, let me know. I'll give you a good deal on it. Then the next one in the lot was Scried, which I honestly had never even heard of, but Slime Fancy Pants from Twitter and from YouTube let me know that it's a pretty good series. And he also said that the last few volumes are very hard to find. So yeah, I was looking through this and it is very, very interesting. The artwork, I was actually very surprised. The cover art here is a little bit deceptive. It makes it look like it's kind of like a cheap manga, but no, it's pretty nice in my opinion. But the reason why I got this lot was because it has Kikaider Code 2 by Shotaro Inishimori, who is the creator of the Sentai series as well as Kamen Rider. The art itself is by Meimu, and you know, this is another series that I'm surprised not many people have in their collections. Definitely Ishinomori fans have this in their collection, but it's kind of a hard one to find, especially some of the volumes, and there are no scanlations available for this. So yeah, excited to get the first volume. Hopefully I can get the rest of them for a good deal. Kikaider, one of those manga, again, you know, similar to like Kamen Rider and some of these older series that you kind of grow up with, but you know, never really was able to dive too deep into it. So excited to get into this. Then just very quickly, I did find volume 2 for Rurouni Kenshin for very, very cheap. I was hoping it would come in better condition than the one that I have, but unfortunately this is in worse condition. So if you want to buy this, let me know. I'll give you a good deal on this as well. All right, so moving along here, I did pick up a few more volumes of Astro Boy, the singles. You know, once again, I don't know if I'm going to continue collecting this. I just picked it up because I found it in the wild for very cheap. They are very, very nice. I love collecting singles whenever it's, you know, makes sense financially. But I think I'm going to end up picking up the Spanish edition, which in my opinion is probably the best one to pick up for. Nevertheless, Astro Boy, a classic series. If you know Pluto by Urasawa, this is what it is originally based off of. And admittedly, I haven't gotten super into Tezuka stuff, but nevertheless, you find these, you're going to pick them up, right? Then I managed to find some more Kendaichi case files, which you probably have heard me talk a little bit about this series in my Learning with Manga video, a series that I've been hunting down for quite a while. It's a bit difficult to find and really underrated series in my opinion. It's very, very well written. I love this type of manga, and it's really unfortunate how expensive it can get, but you can kind of see that this volume here is a little bit faded on the spine, which is kind of an issue with this series. Is, you know, you run into spines looking all different sorts of colors, which you're gonna see in my shelf a little bit. But yeah, it was a good deal, and aside from that, it's in really, really nice condition. So very, very happy about this. Definitely recommend go reading it in scans if you can. It's honestly a very great series. Then we have a very interesting find that I'm very surprised that I found out in the wild, and I remember I almost left the store before I like noticed the spine. I'm just so not used to seeing the Pulp logo on spines, and it is Dance Till Tomorrow volumes 1 and 4. And this series I first heard about, I believe it was a Prom G video. I'm sure he was collecting it at one point. He got the set or something. Yeah, you know, Pulp series is not something that was really on my radar too much, but you know, if I find it on the wild, I'm for sure gonna pick it up. Funny enough, Manga Lord, you know, a few days later goes to his little spot and finds 3 volumes, I think 4 volumes of this, I can't remember, but this seems to happen a lot where he just goes and he just finds these insane finds on whatever spot he goes to. But yeah, excited to have this in my collection. Speaking of more manga creators, we got Genshiken Volume 3 that was picked up by the homie, the Manga Sloth. It was the last volume that I was missing for a full set of Genshiken, a very nostalgic series about otaku culture in Japan specifically. It's a great series. It's been a while since I watched the anime, but even my friend who was not really into anime really enjoyed it. So I think that, you know, speaks for how good it potentially is, you know? Yeah, never read the manga. Now I'm gonna be excited to get into it and kind of have a little nostalgia trip with this. Super awesome. And I gotta say, Manga Sloth, your branding, I already said this in the stories, but your branding is incredible. That's brilliant, bro. Now every time I'm using this bookmark, I'm thinking about you. And no homo. Actually, nah, fuck that. Full homo. Anyways, excited to have a full set, finally. All right, moving along here, another awesome pickup by a fellow manga content creator, specifically a manga TikToker by the name of Nisha the Nerd. She was very kind to help me out and found 3 volumes that I was specifically missing from my collection, which was, I swear to God, this happens more often than not, where the volumes that I find are the exact ones that I'm missing, like nothing that I already have. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I don't know exactly how hard these are to find, but nonetheless, this particular range around the end of the series, like once you get into the 20s, those just somehow, like some of them just skyrocket in price for some reason. Yeah, I'm only 7 volumes away from the series. And I haven't really talked about Vampire Hunter D in depth, but it's a great light novel, and let me just explain the premise of the world real quick. Hopefully this isn't going to take too long, but it's one of the most interesting premises and settings that I've ever heard of. For one, it's cyberpunk mixed with Western, mixed with the medieval, mixed with, you know, vampires, and it's so interesting. But what happens essentially is we're living in the modern world. There's a nuclear war, we go into a nuclear winter, people revert to medieval times, but the catch is that the entire time hyper intelligent vampires have been hiding underground because they are so intelligent that they were able to foresee this disaster happening. So they took the measures to prepare and hide underground and waited for the right moment to emerge from the depths of the earth to dominate the world, which they weren't able to before in the past. So now vampires have been the rulers of the world for centuries, and you're at a certain point in the history where they're actually dying down. There's very few of them left over, and the lore is just so interesting. It's just so fascinating. There's vampires, they're hyper intelligent, they can create all sorts of insane technologies, they have altered human DNA so that we fear them and we don't know their weaknesses. They have resurrected old monsters from the past, so there's like werewolves and chimeras, all sorts of shit, all like scattered throughout the world. It's so cool. Anyways, that's the premise of the story. I just wanted to talk about that since I have never talked about it before, and it's so fun. Each volume, they kind of reveal certain things from the world that keeps you kind of wanting to read more and more. So once you're invested in it, it becomes a joyous experience to read through. Okay, last but not least, we have some awesome finds. Great deals on these, which is very hard to find for like less than $40. Is Ghost Hunt. I got volumes 3, 4, 7, and 9. So I've been hunting and collecting this for quite a bit of time now, but I've never really managed to find that great of deals, but I've been very blessed to find these. So Ghost Hunt is essentially a shoujo, and I would say probably one of the better shoujos that a guy can read. It's one of the more tolerable ones, and I'm really into shoujo and josei. I'm actually making a video on that, specifically recommendations for dudes, which shoujo and josei to read. And I can tell you that there's a lot of stuff that is very hard to consume, which, you know, is not that unordinary, right? These manga are written for girls, so there's a lot of like fan service stuff. Just like harem is probably insufferable to read for most women, there are some that are incredible. My favorite romance of all time is Nodame Cantabile, which is, it could have been a seinen if they put it in a seinen magazine. That's how palatable it is. So Ghost Hunt is centered around this group of ghost hunters who go around investigating supernatural hauntings and stuff like that, which is very interesting. It was actually originally a light novel, which I would love to read one day, but I don't know if it's translated or not, and I'm assuming it's way better than the manga itself. But yeah, not to be confused with the anime, which was called Ghost Stories. This is completely different and, you know, actually good. But yeah, there's a lot of shoujo-y stuff in this. It's not too bad, I would say, but something that I think a lot of people would enjoy. I definitely recommend it. I initially thought that the first couple of volumes were not available in scans, but it turns out they are. I was able to find it. So yeah, I guess they recently got that going, which is very nice, because before you were forced to buy the first couple of volumes, which is a nightmare to find under $40, like I mentioned. But yeah, only have a few volumes left to collect with this. I'm very happy about these finds. Hopefully I can find the rest for an awesome deal. I also got the 1977 issue 1 of Weekly Shonen Jump, and I specifically got this issue because it includes the very first work, a one-shot by Keiichi Koike called Urashima, and it is the one-shot that won him the Tezuka Award in 1976, making him the youngest to have ever won the award still to this day. Keiichi Koike is the mangaka of Ultra Heaven, so it was essentially the reason why I wanted to pick this up. It's an extremely interesting story. After he won the Tezuka Award, they were working on serializing a series with him, but he was just so difficult to work with. He didn't want to do what they wanted him to do, and they essentially kind of broke things off, and Keiichi Koike quit being a mangaka. And it's honestly a crazy story that I'll likely talk more about in my Ultra Heaven video. A lot of the information on him was just so impossible to find. I've had to use like translators on Google searches and stuff, but he is definitely a fascinating mangaka. It's insane to think that this was made by a 16-year-old. You can see his details and proportions are all very well done. I mean, to see what he's doing now, it's an insane evolution for sure. But yeah, happy to have this in my collection for sure. Awesome stuff. But guys, that is it for this manga haul. Let me know what you guys think of the new format. If you enjoy this little discourse about certain series blended with some top-down shots, let me know if any of these sounded interesting to you. What do you think about Tough? What do you think about Shion? That art is insane. Let me know. Would you want to see Ranking of Kings out in English? There's a lot of people that love the anime but don't particularly care for the manga. So I got that language learning with manga video coming up next. I know I said that last video, but I really mean it this time. It's gonna be the next video. The end of the month hit and I totally forgot that I had to get a manga haul video out. So anyways, appreciate you tuning in. I will see you in the next video. Peace.